Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. It is week 5 of the fantasy football season, week 5 of the NFL season, and already all of us are screwed. Every single one of us are dead. Nobody's having fun. Injuries galore. Why do we do this? We would all be much happier if we just didn't do this and this was never introduced to us. But here we are, alas, week 5. We get to talk about all the injuries, all the mix-ups, everything that's going to happen in the week ahead. Let's get into it. Welcome into No Punt Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I'm your host, Joe Zollo. Just one idiot this week. That's Ryan Weisse. Hello, Ryan.
Yeah, out here to give bad advice and make mistakes on my own fantasy teams. That's basically what I do this season. So
yeah, it's this is really I don't like it because I can't figure it out. There's one bad team and it's the Patriots. That's for sure. There's one bad team. There's not a good team. Let's get that out of the way. Nobody's good. They're all middle of the road at best. You think you knew the Carolina Panthers are back with Andy Dalton? No. Bengals 40 spot. You think Zach Moss is a lead back? No. Chase Brown 15 carries, 2 touchdowns. You think the Bills are good and the best team in football? Fuck you. No, they're not.
That was the one. Like, that one just made no sense in the grand scheme of things. Like, they were rolling, and then to just go out there and get stomped. Yeah.
Lay an egg. By a team that had been playing horrible to start the season. So, again, the Chiefs, they're not good, guys. They just are eking by these bad teams. It's utterly insane. This season is... I hate it. I don't like it at all. But, news and notes. Speaking of fucked up, not really. We all anticipated that Davante Adams would request a trade. And shocking, the 2 teams he requested to trade to are the New York Jets and New Orleans Saints. For those that have been living under a rock, he's played with those 2 quarterbacks previously. So if Davante Adams goes to New York, Garrett Wilson will drop to the 3rd wide receiver on the depth chart. And I don't think any of us want that. There are also Tyreek Hill trade rumors. Okay.
I put that one in there. I put that one in there because there were rumors that got started with as poorly as they were playing Sans Tua Tagovailoa, and then fucking Tyreek wakes up trolling today and said, "Love waking up to trade news" or some shit like that on Twitter and just getting everybody all riled up. So I threw it in there just so people knew there are rumors. I don't think anything's going to happen because the Dolphins will look like idiots if they do, but it is something that's out there.
I mean, there's no reason for them to trade. Like, you're just going to punt on the season, then punt on the rest of Tyreek's contract? That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
They need some help, plain and simple. No Joe Mixon at practice. Anthony Richardson. We got this right. That's one thing we can rest on.
100%. Club Fantasy can hang their hat on Anthony
Richardson.
Was not a top 10 quarterback pick.
In 2 seasons, Anthony Richardson has finished 4 NFL games so far.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Brandon Cooks has an infection in his knee. Not good.
I was going to break this one down for people because it's super fucking weird.
Sure.
So he has a meniscus tear or injury and has been getting these injections to avoid having to get surgery. And then the injection site is infected. So not looking good for Cooks in general, who already looks 2 steps behind from what we've seen him in football. We brought this up on the Monday show or Tuesday show for the last 2 weeks. Brandon Cooks is fully droppable, folks. Like, you do not, that was a bad call on my part. If you have him, it's because you listened to me. He is not on any of my rosters anymore. Follow suit. So
kick him to the curb.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors is still in the early stage of concussion protocol. That doesn't really bode well for him to play on Sunday. Practice window for Nick Chubb and TJ Hawkinson have opened up. There was a video on Brown's Twitter that Chubb was at practice. It was just him, no pads, Just a helmet. That was really it in Jersey. And then still no word on the severity of the Rashee Rice injury. You'd think after 72 hours, an NFL football team would have figured this out by now. So not a good thing, I'm going to just say. I feel like that's not
the people
good.
who I follow for this kind of news say that one person said there is a small chance this is not an ACL tear, but that it's still going to be a severe injury, whatever it is, and he's likely to end up on the IR. But I know there are a lot of managers out there right now who are struggling with roster decisions because if your league doesn't allow out on IR, because he is listed as out, but if you have to be on IR to get on IR, which is kind of how I run my dynasty leagues, you're just kind of stuck waiting right now on that roster spot. So,
yeah, I mean, in my opinion, you have to hold him. I think there's a 99% chance he doesn't see the field again this year, but on the off chance that he does, you might want to hold on to him. Any of your commish gear, anything you want to like, is there a trophy you can cry into? Is that like the tears of...
Yeah, we should pass that along to Kelly.
We should pass that along to ourselves and get us a free one. You can go to trophysmack.com/WOFF and get all your commish gear, all that fun stuff. L. Smith, first question. He's been trying to get Jaden Reed because of the Christian Watson injury. Can only get him for Jordan Mason. He has Bijan, Mason, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Malik Neighbors, Josh Jacobs. I assume James Conner. Also has Travis Kelce, Trey McBride, Cooper Kupp, and Chubb, and McCaffrey. I mean, get rid of McBride.
He's saying he has to give up Jordan Mason, so he's questioning whether or not he should do it.
Oh, okay.
So he has Bijan, Josh Jacobs, James Conner, and Nick Chubb coming back. I'll make that move.
Yeah, get rid of him. Do I think Christian McCaffrey plays this year? No. Do I think the Madden curse is back? Yes. Do I think Kyle Shanahan should be fired and never see a football field again? Also yes, because this man straight up just lied on his injury report week 1. And there should be some form of punishment for that, because it wasn't, oh, it hurt. No, this dude has a double Achilles injury. So screw you, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I think your disappointment at running back, I think those guys can turn it around. I have serious questions about your wide receiver. You're going to see a lot of people this week who are going to tell you a Devontae Adams trade is going to boost his value. It's going to boost his trade value. I think in the long run, it's going to hurt him for the season. I understand he's good. If he goes to the Jets, he at least should know the offense.
He knows the offense. I'm not worried if he goes to the Jets. If he goes anywhere else, that's not good.
Yeah, if he goes to the Saints, it's a problem. Like, yeah, Derek Carr can love him all he wants. But he's also, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole here. He's not Devontae Adams of 3 years ago, and he's going to compete with Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. You're not seeing 160 targets in that situation. So.
It's absolutely insane. He fully chased the money, and I think he's realizing that probably was not the case.
Said it when it happened. The Raiders fucked him in this Derek Carr situation. He did chase the money, but he chased the money to go play with a friend, and then that blew up in everybody's. Well, it blew up in his face. So
listen, never go into business with friends.
That's a great point. Like, what are you? Yeah, the NFL is not for long. That was a bad decision on his part to believe that there was any faith by the Raiders in Derek Carr. So
and they don't have faith in their current starting quarterback right now either. So it's really not working well for them whatsoever. Upsides. We will read Josh's picks, and I will throw in one-line jabs. DeAndre Swift, top 12 against Carolina. He fucking better be. He's in my lineup. He fucking better be. I'll say that right now. Jerry Jeudy, top 24 against Washington. I don't like it. Mostly because why does this show put Jerry Jeudy in an upside pick? Washington secondary's horrible.
I think they are, but we did not see Arizona eat. So why are we going to see Cleveland eat? So I'm worried about this pick for Josh in general. So,
and it's not in Cleveland either, which I'd be like, oh, it's in Cleveland. You never know weather-wise, and it's weird. No, this is in Washington, so it's interesting. Jordan Love to have specifically 22 plus fantasy points against the Rams, not 20 or 22 specifically, and he specifies 4-point passing touchdown score.
He has a weird one like that on his downside too. Josh got weird with his picks this week.
It's very, very, very interesting there. Ryan, to you, CJ Stroud, 4 touchdown passes against Buffalo. I feel really confident in your pick because I was also going to pick CJ Stroud as an upside to sabotage the person I'm playing who has CJ Stroud in their lineup because I can't fucking pick an upside this year. It's insane.
Even worse is this one is 100% a gut call. It was the first thing that came to mind when I put in my upside, so there's not a lot of research to back that one.
Deebo Samuel, top 10 against Arizona, and the 2-touchdown special goes to Derrick Henry in Cincinnati. How do we feel about Mr. Henry and Todd Monken, who has finally figured out maybe I should run the football?
Well, I'm going to start with my bad luck. Derrick Henry's my only one I've gotten right this week on the this year on the 2-touchdown special. I'm 1-3.
So we're doubling down.
We're doubling down on Derrick Henry, but it helps that Cincinnati simply cannot stop the run. They just gave up 100 yards to Chuba Hubbard. And they gave up a touchdown to Chuba Hubbard. They gave up 2 running back touchdowns to Washington in week 3. They just didn't go to the same running back. That's not going to be an issue when you're looking at the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. If there are going to be touchdowns to be had, they're going to Derrick Henry. He's played well against Cincinnati in his career. I think this is going to be a good game for him.
Why am I just waiting? Why am I waiting for Baltimore to regress? I feel like it's coming.
Well, I agree. But what I do think is we're kind of seeing it. This passing game that they've just been hyping up for 18 games now since they hired Monken, this is not who they are. Let's stop trying to paint them into a corner. They are a running team. It is working. Their defense isn't playing up to its own standards, so I think we could actually see them play better on defense. But if they're going to control the ball in the current state of the NFL, Joe, as you pointed out, there are no good teams. So a team that can control the ball and play defense, they're going to win. So,
boom. I love it. Absolutely love it. My 3, don't fucking listen to these. I mean, plain and simple, just don't listen. I can't figure it out this year. It's insane. In my own lineups, I'm doing fine. I'm starting the correct people. They just happen to be sucking and not playing well. So here we go. Antonio Gibson, top 15 against Miami. You might be asking, Joe, why not Ramondre? They're going to bench Ramondre.
I almost put that in the news and notes, and then I saw he was in your upside, so I was like, I'll let Joe take care of that.
They're going to bench Ramondre Stevenson because he has 4 fumbles in 4 games. Here comes Antonio Gibson. You want to roll the dice? How about fucking Jermichael Hasty? Sure, throw him in your lineup. I don't fucking know anymore. This is insane. You know what I do know? I'm a jinx. My opponent has Justin Jefferson, so he's going to be top 10 against the Jets this week in London. If he is, and that's my one right pick, I'm never coming on the show again.
Yeah.
I'm never coming on the show again. The one that I do weirdly want to talk about, and it's a tight end, and I kind of want to prop myself up for this, is Eric All, top 7 against Baltimore. So I said, fuck it. Every Iowa tight end in existence has been good over the last 7-8 seasons. Let's see what Eric All does. And I grabbed him I think it was 5th round pick in Dynasty. I said, fuck it.
Yeah.
He's been the most consistent fantasy tight end this season. Listen to that again. He's been the most consistent tight end in fantasy football this season.
How crazy is that?
That's crazy. Pat Freiermuth is a close second. But Eric All, since he didn't see the field week 1, week 2 through week 4, has been the most consistent. Now, is he going to blow you away with the amount of points he's scoring? No. He's scoring 6, 7, or 8 points. He's in that mid-range sort of area. But he is getting more targets than Gesicki every single week.
I was going to say the matchup is good this week too. You're
Very
saying is
good.
he going to blow you away? But Baltimore
This
is
week he
giving up
could.
points to the tight end. And I pointed this out a few years ago, Joe. I've not done the research that I probably should with as many times as I pointed out. Why does it seem the teams with good tight ends, and that's a term I'm using very loosely right now,
Yeah.
but the teams with good tight ends, Baltimore, Kansas City, and a few, they're always the worst at guarding the tight end. I don't understand.
It's insane. You practice against the best in practice every single day. You can't do it. So here's what I'd like to point out. Eric All was tight end 19 last week. You may think to yourself, that's not that good. 6.8 points. Listen, is it good? No. But here's who's above him that is in nobody's lineup in existence on planet Earth. We'll go down the list. Tucker Kraft may or may not be.
He was not in anyone's lineup last week.
I was about to say, odds are he was not in anybody's lineup. Freiermuth, Kelsey, Kittle, sure. You probably see them in lineups. Hill, maybe not. Oh, I'm sorry. Taysom Hill is next. That's a coin flip. Somebody might have said,
I would say
it
was closer to 25% last week.
Yes.
So.
Dallas Goedert, 100%. Ferguson, 100%. Cade Otton, nobody's lineup had Cade Otton in it. AJ Barner, I'll give you 10 seconds to figure out what team he plays for. It's the Seattle fucking Seahawks.
I know.
He was in nobody's lineup. Blake Whiteheart was in nobody's lineup.
I had to go look up what position he played when he scored that touchdown for the Browns. So
he was tight end 10 on the week. Fun fact.
Crazy.
Kincaid, probably in lineups. Laporta, probably in lineups. Hooper, no. Josh Oliver, no. Drew Ogletree, no. Noah Gray, no. Colby Parkinson, maybe in deep leagues. Zach Ertz, maybe. Eric All on the tight ends that have started is a top 10 tight end.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. He's going to be a top 10 tight end this week.
And of all of these no-name guys that Joe has mentioned, Eric All is the one that could repeat what he's doing. As Joe mentioned, the most consistent tight end in fantasy right now. And the matchup is good. I think Baltimore straight up gives up like the second most points to tight ends or something like that. Behind Kansas City, who gives up the most, mainly on that Isaiah Likely game. So
I don't understand how they play against Kelsey every week. And they're just like, we don't know how to cover the tight end.
Yeah.
That's insane. All right. Stonks. Trade Lamar and Diggs away for Tyreek and Hurts. I feel like you're getting worse in both categories.
Yeah, no, don't do this trade at all.
No. Yeah, I mean, if Tua was the quarterback, then we maybe have a conversation. But
yeah, if Tua were the quarterback, I'd make this trade. But Diggs is playing well, and it's Diggs' revenge game week. No.
Diggs doesn't have revenge games. Remember that. Stephon Diggs doesn't have revenge games. We know this. Yeah, I would not do this. My assumption is you're asking this in assumption that Tua Tagovailoa comes back in 2 to 3 weeks.
Week 8 is the earliest. He is symptom-free right now, and they do think he'll be ready to play in week 8. So you're going 3 more games with no Tua.
3 more games with no Tua. How long until he takes the most pedestrian hit and is out again?
Well, in last year we said that, and we kind of look like assholes because he plays all 17. But the fact of the matter is this: concussions are a domino. One leads to another, and we saw that with him 2 years ago. So again, it's easy to be like, Tyreek's going to be such a value in week 8, but is he going to be a value in week 10? And so the only way I'm looking to acquire Tyreek right now is on the low, and this is not on the low. You're giving up the best quarterback in fantasy right now. So
yeah, you want to. Fun fact: Jaden Daniels is actually the quarterback one. I saw a trade today: Jaden Daniels for Tony Pollard, and I almost threw up in my mouth. But it is a one quarterback guy. Had Josh Allen. You're going to offload Jaden Daniels for something. But speaking of Jaden Daniels or Stroud this week? That's a good question. Jaden Daniels technically has a tough matchup. CJ Stroud, on paper, has a tough matchup, but Buffalo looked horrible. Ryan.
So Stroud right now is my QB1. Daniels is my QB3. The answer is there is no wrong answer. If you're worried about the matchups, you play the quarterback with the rushing upside. So I could see leaning Daniels here. Just to quickly throw out what I discovered when trying to justify my Stroud big pick of 4 touchdowns. I had a great game last week, and I do have Diggs hunting for revenge. Buffalo's been tough, but they did give up 2 touchdown passes to Lamar last week, plus a rushing touchdown. They're giving up touchdowns to quarterbacks. If Joe Mixon doesn't play this game, we don't have to worry about rushing vultures as much. You're going to see passing touchdowns to Dario Gumbale to win the game. So I think Stroud is going to have 3 touchdowns at minimum, because I think you can pencil Stroud in for a touchdown to Nico Collins, a touchdown to Diggs, and a touchdown to some random almost weekly right now. I'm loving the upside that we're seeing from Stroud. He's getting better every week, basically, I feel like.
I'm going to go Daniels because I don't think Tressway has punted since 2023. He's just been chilling, collecting.
How fun to have one of the best punters in football and not need him. And then my favorite was, I'm sure you heard this, Joe, because you fucking hate him. Caleb Williams, I guess, made some smart ass comment to the punter that he wasn't going to
Tory Taylor
have a lot of work this year. And it's the other way around. It's Jaden Daniels, punter, who has no work this year.
Caleb Williams has 1,012 total yards or something so far this year. Tory Taylor is 898. Somebody on TikTok is keeping track of the weekly punt yards and total yards compared to Caleb Williams and Torrey Taylor.
That's fantastic.
I believe this was the same guy that tracked Russell Wilson's passing touchdowns to how many toilets he has in his house.
I just got to give you guys some credit. You and Scampers, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. And
Dude,
you guys are out here.
Torrey Taylor's a dog.
I'll have to do a little research.
Listen, he's no Bryce Behringer from the New England Patriots, okay? He's our best fucking player, Bryce Behringer. 61-yard punt, 4 punts inside the 20, no touchbacks, dog status. How much better can you get? He's no Torrey Taylor. Torrey Taylor will be a good punter, though, for a long time. Ryan, I'm so focused on special teams as a Patriots fan, you have no idea.
That's fair.
You have no idea.
That's so fair.
Dude, I'm all about it. 1 and 3, should I trade for anybody? 12-team, 1 flex, full PPR. Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels. Let's assume this is a super flex.
I'm going to say it's not, because that's what I'm seeing with a lot of Jaden Daniels roster, and you're going to need to move off of one of those quarterbacks. So.
Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irving, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Devonta Smith, T. Higgins, Xavier Legette, Isaiah Likely, Evan Ingram. You
need to solidify your wide receiver room. So you need a receiver. Back the quarterback needy team. You're giving up Love. It sucks, but Jaden Daniels is worth it. And then get yourself a backup off of waivers. But use Love to get yourself a receiver.
Yeah. And go get Eric All off the waiver.
Go get Eric All
tight ends.
Bum ass tight ends.
Yeah, because I also don't hate Brenton Strange on Jacksonville.
All of my Ingram teams, I'm holding Strange just because of the will he won't he play aspect of it. So
yeah. Also, thank you, L. Smith. If you haven't, please subscribe. We appreciate it. I don't know where we're at, but we're moving and grooving now.
Somewhere close to 1250 last time I checked.
Yeah,
so.
We appreciate all y'all. Start boy Wan'Dale Robinson against Seattle in the flex.
Every week, baby. Every week. Joe, you'll find this one fun. I found this one for.
Did you see my downside?
No, I have not seen it yet, but I do want to quickly throw out there. Is it Wan'Dale specifically, or is it?
It is one. Apparently, I wrote Wan'Dale Dobinson outside the top 24. So Wan'Dale Robinson's a safe play.
So I'm gonna go with the volume, but Joe, if what I'm about to say might go with what you're about to say. If Neighbors is out, this is the same Giants team as before, and Wan'Dale's likely to have a terrible fucking game. So if Neighbors is out, you get Wan'Dale out of your lineup. Plus, I think he just popped up questionable today. Wan'Dale did.
I don't think Malik Neighbors plays, so I think that's why Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't play well.
Yeah, we know what this Giants team looks like without Malik Neighbors. So.
And while Seattle's pass defense maybe didn't look great on Monday Night Football, they're still good. Detroit's offense is very good. Let's get that out of the question.
To be clear, Wan'Dale Robinson is not Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he is not Jamison Williams. He doesn't have either of their games in his game. And if you want to be real specific, without that disgusting catch from Amon-Ra St. Brown, that's a pretty pedestrian game. I think it was 5 for 45 or 5 for 51 or something like that. It's a pretty average game if he doesn't make that touchdown catch.
Nick Folk almost deadlifted my fucking team. It was him against Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was down by I think 5 or 10 points and only lost by 10 because Nick Folk decided to deadlift my fucking team and score the most points on the roster. I hate fantasy football this year. Nick Folk scored 20% of my team's fantasy points this year. I want to die.
I had a week like that last week, week 4, where the first Mondre negative game, or so maybe it was week 3. The first Mondre negative game, week 3. I also had the Raiders defense, so started the double negative that week. So it's not been fun.
Nick Folk kicked his little fucking heart out at kicker 1 this week with 24 points. Only to lose on my team. God, I love you, Nick Folk. Fuck you, Chad Ryland. Traded ETN for Jacobs earlier, W or L? I don't know. You get the guy in the better offense.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jacobs' volume is crazy right now, 71 carries. He's going to see better passing volume with Jordan Love back in the lineup. So it almost feels like a wash. I'm encouraging folks to go look into buying Jacobs. I don't know if ETN is low enough. I feel like
that offense is horrible.
It's real
so bad.
And Tank Bigsby looks like he's ready to cut into that workload quite a bit.
Tank Bigsby looks like he has legs. Travis Etienne just kind of moseying around.
That's fair as well.
And this is not to forget, Tank Bigsby was good at Auburn. Like, he was very good at Auburn. So it would be no surprise. I don't hate it. I think it's even, but I think Jacobs has a higher upside with
Here's
a
the
better
thing.
offense.
You did what you're supposed to do with Jacobs. He hasn't scored touchdowns yet, so people are willing to sell him. He's going to score touchdowns. He is Josh Jacobs. You got him before he pops, and that's what the goal is when you do these kinds of trades. So again, I'd call it a wash, but I could easily see you coming out ahead.
Boom. I think I know both of our answers here. This is an immediate no. Brian Thomas Jr. and Bucky Irving for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Until we saw that first Tyreek trade, I didn't realize kind of how down I was on Tyreek.
He doesn't have a quarterback. Even if he does develop something with Tyler Huntley, how long is it down the road?
All I'm going to throw out there is, Andrew, on the rest of your roster, is there a chance you're going to play Brian Thomas and Bucky Irving? My guess is yes. And if there is, you don't make this trade.
Hey,
if this is,
you're playing Brian Thomas Jr. this week.
And there you go. I didn't even think about that. Yep. And you're probably playing Bucky Irving.
You're probably playing Bucky Irving this week too.
Yeah.
That is a fair point. If you have never started Brian Thomas Jr. and Bucky Irving, then you're never going to start him. So sure. But to me, what this does is then this is going to force your hand to start Tyreek. And you're going to have to live with the fact that if Tua gets hurt again, or you start Tyreek a week and he has, 2 catches for 30 yards or 2 catches for fucking 5 yards, you got to live with that 2-point game, whereas BTJ can do that in 1 play.
The way I'm viewing Tyreek right now, you actually said it, is 2 catches for 30 yards, 5 fantasy points as a flex play. That is a below average flex play. But what you're hoping for is that 1 catch for 80 yards and a touchdown, because that's a 15-point fantasy play right there. Could he do it? Absolutely. Have we seen it? Absolutely not.
But Brian Thomas Jr.
can
do that same thing. In week 1, 41-yard touchdown catch. He's had big plays. So and again, we just got done shitting on the Jaguars offense. Brian Thomas Jr. might be the only thing going right for the Jaguars.
And the one thing
offense.
I like about Thomas Jr. is if you look at his stat lines, it's getting better every week. And
every
that's
single week.
Exactly what you want.
And this should be a big week for him against Indianapolis. Justin Fields threw for 300 passing yards against the Indianapolis Colts. And he barely threw the fucking football in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought Justin Fields was a bust in the first half of that game, and then he turned it on. He pulled a complete Caleb Williams.
I did too. I was like, I had Justin Fields and I sat Jordan Love. In the first half, I was like, damn, neither of these guys really fucking doing anything for me. And then I checked my game as I'm sitting down walking into Levi Stadium. I'm like, how the fuck does he have 40 points and Jordan Love has 44? What happened in the second half?
I was going to say, you balled out on those two in the second half.
Still lost. Thank you. Still lost. Because Breece Hall, Mike Gesicki, and Rashee Rice combined for 3.9 points.
Joe, I lost 2 games in the Juwan Jennings matchup where I had Juwan Jennings and lost both of them. So fantasy football makes no sense this year.
I hate this sport. Would you drop Ford or Charbonnet, I'm going to assume, for Trey Sermon?
I would have not got there. I was like, Brian Scalabrine?
That's not right. I'm okay with dropping Ford. Trey Sermon's getting every carry.
Trey Sermon is getting every carry. So is Nick Ford. So is Jerome Ford. I don't think Nick Chubb's back this week. I don't
drop either of them. I don't care. They both suck. Kenneth Walker is insane. Did you watch him on Monday Night Football?
I'll give you that.
Insane.
And Charbonnet did find the end zone quite a bit to start the season. Those might be the only touchdowns he scores this year. If I am choosing between these two, it's Sharbs. I'm probably not making the drop. Joe is.
I'm 100% making the drop.
I'm telling you, you have a wide receiver you should drop instead. There are wide receivers aplenty on waivers right now.
Sure, I will grant you that is probably true. From Gio, should I trade Higgins and Bowers for Hill? All these Tyreek Hill questions. What is happening?
Everyone wants Tyreek Hill. I need to know who your other tight end is.
You have one good tight end. There's one semi decent tight end in fantasy football, and it's Brock Bowers right now.
I was gonna say, more than likely, whoever your other tight end is that you think, that's the one you should be giving this trade. And then I'll tell you right now, whoever your other tight end is, Higgins and Kelsey, which is probably what you're holding right now. Higgins and Kelsey for Hill, I probably fucking do that trade.
Do I
Maybe not. I like Kelsey for the rest of the season. I'm getting a little
with Rashee Rice out, it's hard to not like Travis Kelsey. But then you sit there and say, now you can just double team Kelsey the whole time, and they don't. What, Juju Smith-Schuster is going to hit you over the top?
Justin Watson season.
Listen, I'm excited to see Xavier Worthy now because he is the only receiver on the roster.
You know who I'm excited for?
Justin Ross.
McCole Hardman, baby.
Oh, my God. McCole Brick Hands is what he has.
But no, you're not making this trade either. No, guys, I love the fact that you're all actively going after Hill. You are paying far too much.
I understand the thought process of he's back. Tua is back week 8, but you also have to live with the thought that he's not a big hit away. He is a minor hit away.
He's a roughing the passer, illegal hands to the face away from another concussion.
He's accidentally getting hit in the head by a defender trying to smack the football down from literally going on the ground into a seizure. And that's not to be like graphic, but legitimately that's what he's one step away from.
Still, now that Damar Hamlin happened, I now call it the second worst moment of my life, and I always forget the kid's name. I feel bad. The Detroit running back who, when he got a concussion, Javid Best, his arm just got stuck straight in the air. That was the worst moment of football I had ever seen to that point. So
Javid Best. And the Bills had one way back. One of their safeties, they had an ambulance come on the field too. Not the second time in Bills history that happened. They didn't end the game overall, but that's what you have to live with. So all these Tyreek Hill questions, when you're thinking about this, if you're looking to trade for him, just know that his quarterback's one hit away, and your team is one hit away from having a dead asset. So if you're okay with getting rid of Higgins and Bowers and having a dead asset, and you can survive that, then fine. But I'm going to guess that the people you're giving up for Tyreek Hill, you cannot survive that hit. So that's what you have to think. That's all. Is Ramondre getting benched? That is the rumor. That is, I listen to Patriots radio all day. That is the rumor. Gerard Mayo said it in a press conference today.
Yep.
Not good when the head coach says it.
I'm going to guess this week it's motivation. If it doesn't work, next week it comes to fruition. My 2 cents that I've not read into the situation as much as you have.
I think he gets benched, personally.
Okay. You mentioned that already.
I think he gets benched. Elixir's dad has Saquon and Taylor this week, so he needs to swap out both. Saquon's not hurt. He's just on a bye. Is he starting Chase Brown and pick up Trey Sermon, Braylon Allen, Roschon Johnson? This is a standard. Pick up 2, dropping Corum and Curtis Samuel. And then the start 2 is the second part of the question. We'll do the running backs here.
You got to get Sermon quickly. I'm shocked that you still have this as an option. He needs to get Sermon immediately from the 2 you're dropping here. And then Braylon Allen or Roschon. Honestly, either one. You have them in the right order. It's those 3. So
yeah, 100%. And the start 2 and a standard. Neighbors, this question may answer itself with Neighbors. Ayuk, Worthy, and Coleman. Again, this is standard. Worthy is probably the easiest yes of these. If Neighbors plays, it's Neighbors. If not, I mean, do you...
Sorry, I someone in the chat said they missed their answer. I was going and finding their question one more time for us, so I missed this one. Give me a second. Start 2.
You're good.
Yeah, Neighbors, Ayuk,
Worthy, while you're reading, Tyler, I'm okay with dropping Ford or Charbonnet for Sermon. Ryan says Charbonnet if you're going to drop one for Sermon.
I would not, but if you're going to, make it Charbonnet.
Yep. Okay. Standard Neighbors, Ayuk, Worthy, Coleman. It's Worthy and Neighbors, but if Neighbors isn't healthy, who are you going with?
Yeah, as I say, if Neighbors is out, I'm gonna prey on the Brandon Ayuk comeback game. I'm doing it in one of my own leagues right now. So
look, I was at that game. Christian Gonzalez had solid coverage, but there were times where the Pats were in zone, and he was open. There was also times in man coverage where Ayuk looked like he could get 0 separation. And that just wasn't on Christian Gonzalez, who is the DB, who is the cornerback 1 for the Pats. That's on Jonathan Jones, who got cooked twice. That's on Marcus Jones, who he has a major size and height advantage over. That's on Isaiah Bolden, who can't even fucking play football. Like, I am so glad that this is one thing I can rest on. I didn't think Brandon Ayuk deserved any part of that fucking money.
100%.
I think he's an overrated wide receiver 1. He's not that good. He's a possession receiver who, yes, when he's on. But holy shit, possession receivers tend to not get a lot of separation. One of the best ones I can think of, Alshon Jeffrey. His separation, horrible. Anything in his target radius was caught when he was a Chicago Bear. Everything was he would catch everything. Ayuk is not doing that, and he's not getting separation. And Purdy's not even targeting him.
That's
which
what
is
I was just going to
issue.
say. They are not in a position where they have to force anything. Alshon Jeffrey was on teams where he had to have the ball forced to him.
He was the guy.
All they had. Brandon Ayuk. I mean, Joe,
Ayuk
you were at
could
the game.
Argue is the 4th option.
Yep,
You were at the game,
Joe. I think they were gearing Deebo Samuel up for a big game this week, which is why I had him as a top 10 wide receiver this week. They were using him the right way to ease him back in, and I think Deebo pops off. I think this is Deebo's team pretty easily.
If I'm not mistaken, Kyle Juszczyk had as many targets as Brandon Ayuk last week.
Oh, good Lord.
That's not a joke. Juszczyk's open, and Purdy's looking his way. The amount of times that I saw, first off, Ayuk had Jordan Mason on a swing pass 7 fucking times. Nobody was covering him. Instead, he opted to go deep, which I guess it didn't really matter because we can't cover. But Jawan Jennings is getting more targets than Brandon Ayuk.
45-yard bomb.
Like that. Also, great coverage by Marcus Jones. Better catch by Jawan Jennings.
Yeah. Was that the same play they ran the play before for Deebo Samuel, though? It looked like it on TV. I didn't.
Ryan, all of them looked the same.
Okay.
Every single one of them. I saw a catch 40 yards downfield, and I said, well.
I thought it was Deebo again.
No. Well, that one I was like, oh, Marcus Jones has good coverage. The one where Deebo caught it or whoever was deep. I looked up at the Jumbotron, and I said, oh, look, 31 getting roasted again. Jonathan Jones, you suck. Trade Brandon Ayuk. Drop him for all I care. He's going to do nothing for you. And we talk about, like, week 3, week 4 is really the time now where you can kind of look at a guy and say,
yeah,
is he going to do something? Is he not going to do something?
I'll tell you what, you talked me into it. I'm benching him in my standard league. So now I'm pivoting my answer. It's Coleman and Worthy, assuming Neighbors is out. And I'm more optimistic than Joe. I think with the 10-day window, we do possibly see Neighbors.
And tell me, Ryan, who has a better touchdown upside, Ayuk or Coleman?
Coleman.
Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
Of all of these, Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Ayuk was the highest drafted receiver of all these guys.
By far.
He has the lowest touchdown upside.
Actually, Neighbors might have crept up on him. They were probably next to each other. I won't even be surprised if he had him at a turn. So.
In average ADP, Ayuk was higher. He has the lowest touchdown upside of any of these guys.
Yeah, it's rough.
He has the lowest PPR upside of any of these guys.
Brandon Ayuk is not a PPR asset right now, without a doubt.
Not at all. Failures, no option. Love it. Start 2, flex, and flex 1. So basically, are you flexing Brian Thomas Jr., or are you starting 3 of the 4 of these guys? Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Dontavian Wicks, Jordan Addison. Brian Thomas Jr., sorry. I read that as Brian Robinson.
So we have to sit 2 of these guys.
I'm sitting Garrett Wilson until further notice because Aaron Rodgers hates him. Dude, I'll say Addison because London won, so that's a toss-up. Wicks and Brian Thomas Jr. have insane matchups, and Dontavian Wicks is now the touchdown guy.
Well, Wilson and Addison are playing each other in London, so I think you sit the 2 London guys and go with the ones on American soil. So.
And don't the 49ers defense. Look, I want this out there. If Drake May plays on Sunday, the Patriots are in that game and lose by a touchdown. Jalen Polk, God, he murdered Diamador Lenore in the outside. He was open. The tight ends, Trey McBride's going to fucking eat. I don't know if Fred Warner's just not playing man coverage anymore, but the amount of times Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper were open and weren't thrown to was utterly insane. Polk was open over the middle. Demario Douglas was open on whip routes. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be good, and we've been saying it on this show. The 49ers secondary is horrible. It has been for years.
3 seasons now, 4 seasons. They've been bleeding points to wide receivers.
And what masks that is Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Chase Young last year when they brought him in, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw when they blitzed him at the middle, Talanoa Hufanga when they send a safety. That's what has masked the bad secondary. They're not a good set. Diamador Lenore is going to get roasted by Marvin Harrison Jr. It's all a matter of, can Kyler get him the ball?
I need Kyler to start forcing the ball to him. Treat him like an alpha, and that's what's bothering me about this situation.
And that's the one thing. Elixir starting Brian Robinson Jr. with an injury, or Jerome Ford or Kareem Hunt.
This is an interesting one because I love Brian Robinson, but I hate starting players with injuries. So,
especially at running back.
Yeah, I would want to see if Brian Robinson is carrying the queue. I would start Jerome Ford over him. I actually start either one of these two, but I'll go Ford out of the two of them. If he's carrying the queue. If he loses that queue on Friday or whatever day they come off.
If he's a full participant on Friday and obviously and Thursday. If he's a full participant Friday, you roll Brian Thomas.
Yep.
I would go Kareem Hunt, personally.
I like them both. So
Steve, Brown, Pittman, Waddle, J-Mo, Worthy, JSN, Leggett. All of his receivers. Who would you trade up for Aaron Jones? Also have Carr to offer.
Pittman, as quickly as possible. If this is a straight up trade, Pittman and Leggett if you need to offer two, but get Pittman off of your roster. Do not buy into what happened. I saw Waddle. Sorry, just saw Waddle. Pittman and Waddle as quickly as possible.
Joe Flacco has a chance at starting. You want Michael Pittman on your roster.
But he needs Aaron Jones is what he's saying. You have AJ Brown.
Yeah. Do not trade away Michael Pittman. Trade away Waddle and Leggett.
Waddle and Leggett then, yeah. If it's going to take two of these guys, if you have to throw in Carr, throw in Carr. When I was updating my projections, I like to update after week 4. Carr had some startling volume numbers that he is overperforming his own numbers right now. And
you're telling me Derrick Carr's not good? Who would have thought?
That's what I'm saying.
Who would have thought? Yeah, I'm okay with that. If they're like, oh, Jalen Waddle, he's on a bad team, would you do JSN and Leggett for Aaron Jones? I would.
If I'm desperate at running back, you know me, Joe. It's running backs over wide receivers for me almost all day.
Well, same, but also.
But I would also start with JSN by himself. I think JSN could probably get this trade done.
Sure, that's fair. Honestly, offload Waddle in the same set. You don't want fucking Jalen Waddle on.
Just get Waddle, get your headache off of that roster.
Yeah. Open up a roster spot, pick up a receiver off the waiver wire. He's going to do better than Jalen Waddle.
I literally wrote that for Football Guys today. So
yeah, and you have Jamison Williams and Xavier Worthy. Again, Xavier Worthy has now jumped up to the guy in the Chiefs offense.
Every week you are starting after this bye week. You are starting Brown, J-Mo, and Worthy. You're starting every one of them. Now, obviously, this week is rough because Brown and J-Mo are both on bye. So this week, you're starting Worthy, but like Joe pointed out, you might have Michael Pittman with Joe Flacco this week.
Against
so you're
the
starting
Jaguars.
Worthy and Pittman. And then whoever you hold on to out of Leggett and JSN is a startable asset. So,
yes. Chris, half PPR. The amount of Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt teams is funny.
That makes a lot of sense. These were teams that were struggling at running back and paid up to get Hunt. So
sure. Well, Dontavian Wicks is the immediate guess.
Pin to your lineup start as quickly as possible. And we both, I like Ford, Joe likes Hunt. They're the same guy.
Yeah, we split on the backs. I am going Hunt.
But get Dontavian Wicks into your lineup.
Yes, I spent it. I had Wicks in one league, but every league I had Fab in, I spent some money on Dontavian Wicks. In every league I could pick him up in, he was my number one waiver priority. And shout out to me for losing in every league this week, so my waiver priority was higher.
Yeah, I underbid by $10 in one league, but got him in every other league. I was underbidding by $10 is the fucking worst. Like I bid high and still underbid by $10. That's the second time this season because that's how I lost Rashid Shaheed as well. So,
Elixirs, this is a great question. And I want to bring it up. I think it's a fair question. I was going
to say Joe, I started this knowing exactly what you were going to do.
Listen, I think this, what do you think? What am I about to do, Ryan?
You're about to go see points per game for Younghoe Koo and other kickers versus what we've gotten from Tyreek Hill recently.
No, I was actually just going to go on the season. So Tyreek Hill is the wide receiver 28 on the season with 30.8 points. Jalen Naylor has 30. Fun fact, he's right behind him.
That all-star from Minnesota.
And I barely know her. And then Younghoe Koo has 41 points.
So yes, in your Scott Fishbowl flex spot,
Younghoe Koo is a better start than Tyreek Hill.
100%.
Run that through your fucking skull. God, I hate fantasy football. Millie, this one's interesting.
This is crazy to me.
Traded Bijan and Drake London for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Hurts. This one,
I don't know.
Feels okay.
I would say I don't know which side of this I'm more perplexed by. That someone was willing to give up a top tier quarterback. I'm gonna guess they maybe hit the home run with Jaden Daniels, but to get an underperforming Bijan. But Drake London's playing well, playing better than Tyreek Hill is, right? I don't even know which side. I would have stuck with the Falcons side of things.
God. Is it just me, or do we want Michael Penix Jr. in? Because it feels like the offense needs a spark. In Kirk O'Chains isn't doing it.
I'm just going to... Something's up with Bijan Robinson. Now, he popped up on the injury report after this game, so maybe it was something that happened during the game. But this is now 2 coaching staffs in a row, Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts, that are not using them correctly. And I'm saying using them correctly based on how we think they should be being used. What the fuck is going on is my answer. But I'm going to hope this Bijan Robinson thing is the injury he popped up with.
His skill is undeniable. Bijan Robinson is ridiculous skill-wise.
I want to agree with you, but there's something to the volume aspect of it that we're just not seeing him get. It's so weird to me.
You can't convince me a team in the Houston Texans figured out a way to make Devin Singletary look good. But nobody can
Bijan Robinson.
Can't make Bijan Robinson good. Also, just randomly, do you know this kid Ashton Genty from Boise State?
Yeah. Only because of the college football video game do I know who any of these names are right now.
That will be my first round dynasty pick next year. Okay, my running backs are fucking Jonathan Brooks and Jalen Warren. I need a running back. So okay, Ashton Genty, you may be thinking to yourself, "Wow, this guy can't be good." Plays at Boise State. His rushing yardage betting line this week. Can you guess what that is, Ryan?
Okay, so you're saying it's incredible with what I know.
Just for shits and giggles.
155.
It is 186.5 rushing yards is his line. How about this, Ryan? You want a horrible bet? You love the multi-touch. You love the multi-touchdown games.
Absolutely.
3 touchdown bet for him. What would you put that? What do you think that's at for him to score 3 touchdowns?
In the NFL, a 3 touchdown bet plus 2,400.
Minus 110.
Shut the fuck up.
I swear, that's how good this kid is. Vegas is betting that he has better odds of scoring 3 touchdowns than he does at not scoring 3 touchdowns. That's unheard of.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Minus 110 on a 3 touchdown bet, and his yardage line's basically 200 fucking rushing yards.
200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
If you're wondering, Joe, that sounds insane. Yeah. He also, on 4 plays on the first drive, had 67 yards and a rushing touchdown last week. So he's really fucking good, guys.
Yeah.
He's really good. Oh, insane. Augusto. Running backs are Breece Hall. I feel that one. Alvin Kamara, Jerome Ford, J.K. Dobbins, Kareem Hunt. All these Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt rosters are insane. This is crazy. Receivers are London, Neighbors, Godwin, Pittman, Deontay. Tight ends, Bowers. Would you do London, Deontay Johnson, or Godwin for Tyreek? He only wants 1.
Based on your wide receiver room, I would do London.
I would do London as well.
Yeah.
I would do London as well. As long as Andy Dalton's in that lineup, that's the best quarterback Deontay Johnson's had.
He looked so good on Sunday. It was ridiculous.
It's like he knows he's getting the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that because you can survive.
Deontay Johnson and Chris Godwin are going to carry you until you get a real Tyreek Hill back.
So. How about?
Oh, I forgot about Malik Neighbors.
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
And when Anthony Richardson goes out, You have Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
That's good.
This is the type of trade you do for Tyreek.
Yes. Need 2 in a PPR. Dobbs, 2. God, I hate fantasy football. Dobbs,
I started Tutu Atwell in multiple leagues last week, by the way.
In Xavier Legette are questions in week 5.
I actually want to give Charlene credit.
That's pretty good for a 32
wide receiver room for a 32 team league.
I will give her that. I didn't read the parentheses. That's pretty good for a 32 team.
Yeah, because I'm struggling at wide receiver in a 32 team because I lost Puka. I will bench. I actually like all 3 of them this week enough. I'll bench
Dobbs.
I'll
go to 2 and Xavier.
Yeah, with it being full PPR, that's how I would play it as well.
Yeah. From Craig, can you help me with the running backs? Have to start 3. So basically, who are you benching? Bijan, Joe Mixon, ETN, Moss. This could answer itself.
It's going to answer itself. Joe Mixon didn't practice again today. He's not playing this week. So if Mixon plays, and I'm saying he has to get full practices in Thursday, Friday, Saturday before I would even trust him, I'll bench Zach Moss out of this group. Ooh, ETN is also interesting, but I'll bench Zach Moss.
Zach Moss. Chase Brown is gonna be the guy. Camilo. Should I accept a trade where I'm getting Garrett Wilson and giving up Ayuk and Zay Flowers? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're trading for non-working parts and you're getting a roster spot. I imagine there's somebody on waivers you want, especially if there's a guy like Dontavian Wicks out there on waivers. You win this trade in that situation.
Yeah, Zay Flowers is just not. He's not getting used. They're going to run the football now, and we just went on a.
And Brandon Ayuk ain't it. I think they're going to start scheming to get Garrett Wilson more involved. The pillar to fucking this trade up is Devontae Adams traded to the Jets. That destroys this trade. Well, let me be clear. It doesn't destroy this trade. It just doesn't. It takes away the upside you thought you were getting. But guess what? The other 2 don't have upside either.
I keep going back and forth on if it's a good thing if Devontae gets traded to New York, because for Garrett Wilson's sake.
Yeah.
Because that is going to bump Allen Lazard to the 3rd wide receiver spot. And yes, Lazard's running out of the slot, but then that just bumps Mike Williams out. So is it a bad thing? I don't know. Like, you get one guy who goes off script and Aaron Rodgers knows exactly where he is. Then you get another guy that is just there and he'll be open on plays because he's getting the second best coverage. I mean, it could be a good thing for Garrett Wilson. I don't know. We'll have to see when it officially happens here in the next 2 weeks, because he's a Jet and nothing else. That is exactly who Devontae Adams will be. They want a 2nd-round pick and other assets. We'll take Devontae Adams. You're the Jets. You need to win this year. You have
the window is closed after this year.
The window is the next 18 weeks. That's the window. So it's that or nothing.
Go make the trade.
Go make the trade, New York Jets. Will start Lazard, Atwell, or Zay Flowers?
Tutu Atwell.
I was going to say, if it was in the States, I would be okay with Lazard, but Tutu Atwell. And for some reason, Brian Flores has the fucking hard knock scrubs playing like an all-pro defense. It's absolutely insane. So, Tutu Atwell. Jen, on a rebuild in a 2.5 point per reception tight end premium dynasty. Wow. Even then, I still wouldn't draft a fucking tight end. What's the going rate for Evan Ingram? Looking for picks or a younger guy and picks? Could also add a receiver to it.
Hard to trade Ingram right now after what he hasn't done for the last 3 weeks. In that type of tight end premium, Evan Ingram is worth a 1st-round pick, like without a doubt. When he's playing, no one's going to give you that right now. So if you're looking for picks in a younger guy, I would go for 2 and a young player. A 2 and a young player should be fair in that type of format.
I would agree with that. I mean, you have to imagine Brock Bowers was top 3 pick, right?
If it's not super flex, he may have been the 2nd pick behind Marvin Harrison. So
I was thinking you'd go Harrison, Neighbors, Brock Bowers.
And that's how it should have went. But Neighbors, don't forget, Neighbors was plummeting with that Giants news. So.
Yeah, 100. That's what I say. He could have been top 3. I don't think he would have jumped Marvin Harrison, but yeah, he could have been 2 or 3. So that's very interesting. All right. Downsides. If you have more questions, ask them. We love them. We'll go to the downsides. Josh, Andy Dalton outside the top 20 in Chicago. Breece Hall outside the top 18 in Minnesota. It's in London.
I just love that he has top 18.
Bitch, just say 20. Like, just say 20. At least with the tight ends, I say top 7 because that feels like the double-digit cutoff point now at this point. Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. outside the top 24 at San Francisco. I don't know Josh's reasoning for that one. I'm going to assume it's that Kyler just needs to throw him the football more.
Josh and I got pretty down on Kyler over the Monday, Tuesday show. So, yeah, I'm going to guess it's more about hating Kyler less than the receiver. Yeah.
That's fair. Ryan, you have Mahomes is outside the top 15 against New Orleans on Monday Night Football, correct?
Yep. So.
Raiders don't hit 200 yards of offense in Denver. Hell, if the Jets can barely do it, the Raiders can't.
There's my reasoning.
There you go. The no touchdown special goes to Trey McBride against San Francisco after I just said I like Trey McBride this week.
I don't like that he's coming off of a concussion, and now he's facing a defense that's only allowed one tight end touchdown this entire season. And that was to your backup tight end, Joe, Austin Hooper.
You mean Austin fucking Dog, you mean? And started the comeback.
And then when you talk about McBride's only tight end, for those who don't remember, it was a fumble into the end zone that he happened to have been the one to fall on. It's not been a great season for McBride. It's not been a great season for tight ends against San Francisco. So this is a situation, Joe.
You could have just stopped at not a good season for tight ends.
Yeah, it's not been a great season for tight ends. So this is one where, and he's coming off the concussion protocol. There's a lot of things working against him. And to go back against Josh's take and for your and I take, San Francisco does not do well against wide receivers. I think this is a wide receiver game, not a Trey McBride game.
So Ryan, you're talking about it hasn't been a good year for Trey McBride. Where do you think he is as a tight end right now, currently?
Having missed one game and falling into the end zone on that touchdown, tight end 11.
He's tied for tight end 7 with Dalton Kincaid. That's how bad.
And Kincaid's been ass, and he's still tight end 7. So
Kincaid had a week with 2 points. Trey McBride had a week with no points, and they are tight end 7 on the year. Zach Ertz is 0.2 points behind them.
Just how we thought it would go.
Just how we thought Zach Ertz would be scoring higher than Jake Ferguson and Travis Kelce. Just like we drew it up, guys.
Exactly.
God, I hate this thing. Me. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's predicting the demise of people. That's what I'm good at. That's where we go. Drake London outside the top 20 against Tampa. Wan'Dale Robinson outside the top 24 against Seattle. Previously discussed on why. If Malik Neighbors plays, this is a whole different story. And Dak Prescott outside the top 12 against Pittsburgh. I will touch on London and Dak Prescott. I have always shit on Tampa Bay's secondary. I don't think they're good. But I also don't love Kirk Cousins on a short week in an offense that does not seem to have figured it out just yet. So I don't really love that. And as much as I think Pittsburgh sucks, and I think they're overrated, oh, baby, do I think the Dallas Cowboys offense is a lot more overrated. How did they not steamroll the New York Giants? I get Thursday nights, anything can happen. Yeah. How did they not steamroll the New York Giants?
Yep.
This is in Pittsburgh in primetime. Dak will be lucky to have one touchdown.
And this is one of those fan bases where Dallas isn't going to have the home field advantage on the road. Pittsburgh fans show up. So
does Dallas have home field advantage? Do they ever have home field
advantage?
That's
a good point. Their fans did used to travel. I don't think it's so much anymore. So.
Yeah. Did Dallas ever have home field advantage at home? Though,
yes,
like
don't be an asshole. Yes, they did.
I don't know about recently. I'm just putting that out there. Yeah, no, they're definitely not having it at
it's going to be a hostile crowd.
They're not having it at Acrisure Stadium. Why does that sound so?
Is that
much
what it's called now? I don't even know what the fucking stadiums are called anymore.
Acrisure Stadium, not to be confused with Paycor Stadium in fucking Cincinnati.
I'm just gonna call it Heinz Field or Three Rivers.
Yeah, Heinz Field and Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah.
Listen, you know what? I get it. Sponsorships come and go. You got to change the name. Acrisure Stadium sounds horrible.
Yeah, we should be a little bit more choosy about who we're letting put their names on stadiums.
Like Banks, like US Bank Stadium. Not a horrible name. Like that's fine. Doesn't get me going. That doesn't hurt me.
No.
SoFi Stadium? Love it. That's a great little jingle right there.
Hard
Rock Stadium. But I mean that one's built it, but Gillette Stadium. I don't know why. That just punches you right in the mouth.
And you guys have had it forever.
Yeah. MetLife Stadium. Sure. That's fine. AT&T Stadium. Totally okay. M&T Bank. Nothing wrong with that. Acrisure Stadium. They went from Heinz Field, like a top 5 name, to Acrisure Stadium. And I'm sure they're paying them a fuck ton of money for those naming rights.
By the way, we will be No Punt Intended presented by Acrisure
Stadium if you're
some money.
Please, happily. Yeah, my God. No Pun Intended presented by DuckDuckGo. I don't fucking care.
Yeah, just pay us.
But like Levi Stadium. It used to be CenturyLink Field in Seattle.
Yep.
Lumen Field. It's okay.
I like Lumen, but
it's not as good as CenturyLink for some reason.
I liked it because you didn't even know it was a company if you didn't know it was a company. It just sounded cool. So.
Yeah. NRG Stadium, Houston.
Was the best. It still is, right? Still called that?
It still is, NRG. Okay. Yes. Because it used to be Reliant Stadium, which still was also a good name. The Caesar Superdome, also baller. That works too. Mercedes-Benz. This is all great. Millie, Mondre, and what else can get me Jacobs or ETN?
It's going to take more than you probably want to give because Mondre is a dead asset right now.
Yeah, you just got to hold on to him. You do. You just got to hold on to him. It sucks, but you have to. Millie is wondering where Kyle Pitts is on the tight end list. Give me 1 sec here. Millie, use my trusty little...
He might hurt himself scrolling that far.
No. So, Ryan, where do you think Kyle Pitts is on this list?
17.
He is tight end 16 on the list. Yeah. He has had a horrid season. Tight end 16.
Yep. So weird.
Would you say that Hunter Henry's had a decent season? No, probably not.
I wouldn't say
tight end 14.
See, and that feels right. That based on what you're telling me, that feels right.
Sam Laporta, tight end 15. It's all just terrible.
Laporta showed up for the first time this week. So.
George, trade Mason for Achane or Bijan. This is a standard redraft. Other running backs are Barkley and Gibbs. Would not trade Jordan Mason at this point.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I would take Bijan and gamble that it's going to get better.
If you're going to take any of them, it's Bijan Robinson. Devon Achane, hell no. But
Mason is the touchdown upside every single week. Way more than the other two.
Does Christian McCaffrey play in the NFL again?
And if he does, it's not till November. Take these next 4 to 5 wins, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm staying put. If you do want to trade, it is Bijan Robinson by a mile, not even close. Caesar, should offer Garrett Wilson. Who should I offer for Garrett Wilson in Dynasty? He has DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, Rashid Shaheed, Tank Dell, JSN. Am I even dumb for thinking about it? I do not think you're dumb for thinking about Garrett Wilson in Dynasty. He's a 23-year-old or 24-year-old top-tier NFL wide receiver. The issue is he has a hard-ass fucking do it my way or blah, 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 fucking quarterback who doesn't like him. Garrett Wilson was a top 10 receiver with Zach Wilson. All Garrett Wilson needs is not Aaron Rodgers, and he will be a top 10 receiver. Yeah. So you're fine to do this in Dynasty. Right now, I would buy him low. I'll give you this. Somebody traded me a first-round pick last year. It was the last pick of the first round in a 10-team league for Garrett Wilson. That was it.
Well, looking at his wide receivers, Joe, I feel like obviously we're both going to say throw Waddle in here.
Throw Waddle in there.
There's a little name recognition in Dynasty there. But, Joe, are you willing to give up Rashid Shaheed to make this trade happen? Because Rashid Shaheed is the most temporary receiver on his team.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that, but I would go Waddle in a second.
Yeah, start with Waddle in a 2 and see if that gets the thing going.
Yeah, if not, go Shaheed in a 2. If not, go Dell in a 2.
Oh no, I meant would you give up Waddle and Shaheed? I think it's going to take Waddle and Shaheed to get this trade done.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Unless that Garrett Wilson dynasty manager is like, no, this is my guy.
Yeah, I guess that's the point. Do you know they're trying to offload Garrett Wilson, or are you just like, Let me see what I can get out of this.
If they're trade blocking Garrett Wilson, I'd go a third in Jalen Waddle. If they're trade blocking him. Yeah.
Leave room for negotiation.
Yes. T-Money, I see you have a fire trade, so we're going to go to James real quick. Mayfield or Love this week, Ryan?
I feel like it's really hard to bench Baker Mayfield, but I do love what we saw from Jordan Love early on. I'm trying to take a look at my preliminary rankings here.
I'll go Jordan Love. He's not on a short week.
I have Jordan Love on as QB5, Baker Mayfield as QB10. So, yeah, Jordan Love.
Yep. T-Money. 10-man PPR, Burrow, Jacobs, James Conner, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Dalton Kincaid, DK Metcalf, Jamison Williams, Jerome Ford, Chase Browns, Josh Downs, Dontavian Wicks, Xavier Worthy, Jonathan Brooks on IR. It's 2-2. The dude is 1-3, has Gibbs and Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown on bye week, so he needs a win. We're in talks right now. He would do James Conner and Jamison Williams for Gibbs, but he also wants DK, so should I go after Brown or Smith? Let's say Smith and Gibbs for Connor and DK. Is that solid? And I just take a possible L this week.
I would want A.J. Brown over Smith, but yes, that's a solid trade.
I would also want A.J. Brown over Devonta Smith, but I am okay with that as well.
Yeah.
I am never one for taking losses, but if you're playing CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase,
I was going to say, I don't know that you're taking an L this week with this trade. I understand you're bringing in two guys on bye, but you have the roster, I think, to make up for it a little bit because you can start Ford and Chase Brown at running back. I think you're fine. I make this trade.
You can start Jacobs and Chase Brown at running back.
I'm only looking at like half of his roster right now.
And he has Dontavian Wicks and Xavier Worthy.
Oh, yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, but start with A.J. Brown.
And you're really hoping for Anthony Richardson to tweak his ankle because Josh Downs will also eat when Joe Flacco's in the lineup. So
yeah, only.
You're totally fine. This is, in my opinion, for your sake, this is Gibbs for Connor, and Gibbs is a million times better.
So much better.
Yeah, so much better. All right, Ryan, stream of the week.
All right, let's get into it. Last week was a little rough. I bet.
Oh, now go. There was something on the screen. You go
now. Oh, okay, gotcha. I was gonna say last week was a little bit rough. Gambled on the Chicago Bears and lost terribly, so we're going to hope to improve this week. Week 5 streams of the week, all available in about 50% of ESPN leagues. For quarterback, I'm going to go with Geno Smith taking on the New York Giants. Geno just threw for 395 yards last week. He actually leads the NFL in passing yards this season. We know the yardage is going to be there. The Giants are tied for 8th most passing touchdowns allowed. I think we're going to see 2 touchdowns out of Geno this week. He's going to be a great play. At tight end, I'm going to go with Tucker Kraft taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Kraft has overtaken Luke Musgrave in 2 games with Jordan Love. He scored 6 and 18 fantasy points. Either one is good for a streaming tight end. He was the tight end 1 in fantasy last week, and the Rams give up the 8th most points to the position. I think he could repeat this week. For defense, we're going to go the Denver Broncos and pick on the Las Vegas Raiders. As I mentioned, I think the Raiders are a mess. They're not going to hit 200 yards this week. It seems unlikely that Devontae Adams ever plays for them again, and they were already allowing the 3rd most points to defense and special teams. The Broncos are the defense 3 on the season and just shut down the New York Jets. It should be even easier this week. Those are the week 5 streams of the week. Full article available tomorrow.
For those saying, it was raining in New York. No, the Jets have just fucking sucked this whole season. One of their wins is the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. The Jets are horrible.
Me and Josh didn't do Underdog, Joe. You can just skip that.
Okay. I'll give mine at least.
There you go.
Dice Dealer. Carolina Homer has offered him Kyle Pitts for Jonathan Brooks, currently streaming tight end. Dice Dealer,
no.
You'll still be streaming
tight end.
Yeah. You'll still be streaming tight end.
Bro, so I had someone lowballing me for Jonathan Brooks this entire week. Good friend of mine. I called him out on my little home league podcast that I do. Told him, stop this shit. I did not hold this motherfucker for 4 weeks to give him away before he comes back. If you think I'm not starting Jonathan Brooks for 2 weeks before I start to sell, you're out of your mind. So,
Pop is 6 weeks?
No, he's 4. He has not been announced for practice yet this week, meaning he's unlikely to play, though I think they can still announce him tomorrow. But no, he's eligible to come off just like Chubb and all those guys. So,
ooh, I might get a dynasty running back this week.
Yeah.
Not going to fucking matter because the rest of my team just says fuck you and doesn't show up, but that's fine.
Based on what I want to see, I want to give clear expectations here. I've been doing a lot of research into Brooks. You are more likely week 7. There is a mild hope for week 6. The good news is they don't have a bye till week 12. So you're going to get probably 4 or 5 games out of him before you have to worry about a bye week.
4 or 5 games of fresh legs and a bye week and then more fresh legs?
Smarter people than me have said Jonathan Brooks could be a league winner. With what we're seeing from Chuba Hubbard, it's a double-edged sword. Are they going to really want to take all the carries away from Chuba Hubbard? But you have to imagine Jonathan Brooks is far more talented than Chuba Hubbard. So.
You also have to imagine he's getting the goal line carries over Chuba Hubbard.
100%.
At his size.
Yeah.
And this is not to say Chuba Hubbard's a slouch. They were both arguably the best running backs in college when they were coming out in their draft class. Chuba Hubbard was a stud at Oklahoma State. I don't know who the kid is there at Oklahoma State this year. Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
6'2", 230.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State has made some good running backs recently. And I think Ollie Gordon's going to match up on that. But yeah, it's a good point. But I think Jonathan Brooks will get most of the goal line carries. Nobody decided to participate in Underdog this week because they hate our sponsors, but I'm the one that loves them. So we love Underdog Fantasy, promo code WOFF. You sign up, free pick, first time deposit, match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Drake London, lower than 63.5 rushing receiving yards. Ooh. Thursday night, short week. I don't think the offense has it. Yes, Drake London's been playing well, and I don't want this to happen because I have him in fantasy, but I do think it inevitably does happen. If this wasn't on a short week, I'd feel a lot different. I mean, plain and simple, I would just feel a lot different if it wasn't on a short week. And
yeah, I was going to say, along those same lines, if there is a Kirk Cousins interception prop, I would pop that in there.
Slap that.
And Baker Mayfield, 1.5 touchdowns. I'm sure that's one of the props. I would take Baker Mayfield at 1.5 touchdowns as well.
You know who I was going to look up? Ashton Janty to see what his line is on Underdog.
There you go. Get it in there.
He's not there right now. You know what to do? Lock this Drake London one in because that's a lock. Whatever free pick they're giving you this week, lock that one in. And then go bet Ashton Janty's over on his rushing yards of 186.5 and thank me later. The kid's insane.
Yeah.
All right. Chris T.
As quickly as possible.
Trade James Conner and Amari Cooper for James Cook and Putt. Yes.
Yeah. James Cook is by far the best player in this trade. Go make that trade.
I'd argue Tony Pollard is the second best player in this trade. I would argue that fact. Yes.
Amari Cooper found stone hands real quick. So
found stone hands and James Conner. I think he's nearing the end of his time in the NFL.
Yep. Trey Benson's nipping.
Yeah. Trey Benson's right on his bud. All right. That is all, folks. Remember, trophysmack.com/WOFF. You get all of your fantasy football championship or loser bowl needs, or maybe
something to cry into, as Jeff said earlier.
A towel. They got stuff. A trophy. Yeah. They need to make the Sacco. That's what they need to recreate from the league.
Yeah,
they need to
bring
make
it back.
Sacco. Yeah. Bunch of shows every single day. I get notifications every day that we're going live with shows, including one in the next 15 minutes, our Women of Fantasy Football Week 5 preview.
Hosted by Ryan.
Oh, my God. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
That's why I'm rocking the Women of Fantasy shirt tonight.
So our resident female on the podcast will be hosting the Women of Fantasy Football show here in 15 minutes over on the Women of Fantasy Football YouTube page. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. We greatly appreciate it. We have, tripled our followers since the end of last season. So we appreciate every single one of you for that. And we hope to keep it going. And thank you for doing this because we didn't realize that you liked us.
You guys are fucking awesome. Plain and simple.
We just thought you were scrolling on YouTube and said, wow, 3 white dudes. This has to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's not that in the world. And you were just like, yeah, we gave him a shot. And
what an anomaly.
Yeah. Three white dudes with microphones in front of their faces. Never seen before.
My favorite part is how people have pointed out how we are the 3 stages of beard growth when Josh is on.
Listen, I'm the young guy. All right. I can't grow right here. That's my issue. I can't nothing grows here. It's it was a weird spot. I don't understand it.
Joe Ortiz says he still doesn't know why he stopped. Now he's trapped. We got you, bitch.
You can leave anytime you want. It's like Hotel California, actually. Check out, but you can never leave.
The youngest one of the show throwing the Hotel California.
Dude,
Get us
that
out
is
of here. I got another show in 15 minutes.
That is my favorite drug reference in any single song of all time. For the young kids, listen to Hotel California. Not for like it's a good song and all that. Listen to the lyrics and how much they're talking about doing drugs. That's it. Because it's a 5-minute song. 6 minutes of it is talking about doing drugs. It's insane. It's insane. You can check out You Can Never Leave is one of the hardest lines in rock and roll history. For Josh, Ryan, myself, you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Send a prayer up to whatever deity you believe in, because fuck this season. Good luck. We'll see you next week.